Hunters, welcome! In this video I will go over 2 endgame builds that in my opinion are the strongest builds you can play right now. With Arc Tempered Arcveld joining us in this latest update, we got new gear from him which looks awesome with very nice pieces that fit in the Insect Glaive builds. We also got a new set of gear when completing the new side mission Love for a Hero, where you have to take on a Gormagala solo. Tough quest, but the new armor rewarded for this quest is some nice pieces that fit in well within Insect Glaive builds. Definitely worth going for. Let's prepare for the 4 10-star Arc Temper quest, Proof of a Hero. Before I jump in, I structured this guide as follows. Kinsects, weapons, talismans, and then I'll go over 2 new builds that I use in my hunts. One that uses a crafted talisman, which is fairly easy to obtain, and one that uses an RNG talisman. And if you stayed this far, I also show you a build I used to beat Arc Tempered Arcveld and cleared the quest Proof of a Hero. Note, for people that know me, I will never recommend the absolute meta DPS builds to anyone. The reason is simple. People who can handle those builds won't search videos on YouTube for the best endgame builds. They are literally glass cannons. These builds are very powerful, but you need a lot of knowledge of the game, iframe dodging, offsetting, the works. In all my builds I have one golden rule, a minimum set of 3 level 1 decoration slots. And when I use Gormagala pieces, I increase that by at least 2 extra 1 slots to fit in the same jewels for antivirus. I researched these builds so they are usable and don't require 1000 hours of playtime to be actually fun to play without you getting one shot all the time by these new 10-star Arc Tempered monsters. With that out of the way, let me explain the golden rule first. 3 level 1 decoration slots for resistances or defensive options, or shockproof if you're playing a lot of multiplayer. Basically slot in whatever keeps you alive in the hunt. For example, fire resistance against Arc Tempered New Hydra or Gogmagias to negate burn. This will prevent you from carting and failing the hunt in most cases. Or at least that is the intent. Failing in hunt is wasted time, so you want to prevent that. And if you're playing with randoms, you don't want to be that guy. Kinsects. Not much has changed here, but I do have one addition this time. Beetle and Whispervesp are still my go-to choices. I use Beetle against monsters where I know I can reliably get all 3 extracts with Rising Spiral Slash. I use Whispervesp against monsters with small heads or monsters that move around a lot, where the extra speed really makes a difference. Blunt Kinsects are still the best option for most regular monsters, as they can interrupt monsters with a charged Kinsect shot, giving you extra openings and free damage. Now for the addition, Pseudocut for Gogmagios. If you really want to min-max, Pseudocut is very strong on finding Gogmagios. Since Gogmagios cannot be interrupted like normal monsters, the blunt advantage loses value. Pseudocut is a severing Kinsect. It contributes to tail severing, while also dealing slightly more damage than blunt Kinsects in this matchup. It also comes with great bonuses like fast charge and attack powder, making it a very solid choice, especially for Gogmagios. It's also a quite speedy Kinsect, which makes it favorable for me. Let's talk about weapons. Since the last update, not a lot has changed. Just to get this out of the way, crafted weapons aren't being used, so I won't go into the detail about those. Artian weapons are the way to go, and crafting your Artian weapon remains the same, using attack infusion on all 3 parts of the same element. When it comes to reinforcement bonuses, there is some variation due to RNG. Best possible roll for the Insect Glaive is 1 sharpness boost and 4 times attack boost. Other viable options are 2 times sharpness boost and 3 times attack boost. This is what I run mostly, it seems the easiest to get. Or 1 sharpness boost, 1 affinity boost and 3 attack boost. The DPS difference between the best and the worst of these rolls is minimal. So don't go crazy chasing the perfect roll. Trust me, it will save you a lot of frustration. With the introduction of Gogmagios, you can upgrade your Artian in a Gogmagios Artian. Previously, I always recommended going with the attack focus. This has now changed. For most matchup, elemental focus is slightly better. The difference is marginal, so if you created something with attack focus, that's still a valuable option. For the absolute best reinforcement rolls after upgrading to a Gogmagios Artian, you'll be looking at 1 sharpness EX, 2 attack EX and 2 times attack 3. The priority is as follows. Sharpness EX always first to try to get that, then attack, then affinity if you have that. You can also roll weapon and armor skills into the weapon itself, but I'll cover that in the build section, since they heavily depend on the armor piece you're running within your build. So that concludes the weapons. Talismans. So talismans haven't changed. Crafted talismans like Challenger Charms are still very good options for players who don't have strong RNG talismans yet. The god talismans we're looking for is 2 times attack boost, 1 time Agitator, 1 level 1 weapon decoration slot, and 2 level 1 armor decoration slots. Agitator can also be weakness, exploit or burst, but Agitator generally is considered the best option for the Insect Glaive. That said, the other options can definitely work in builds. With the introduction of 10-star monsters, we now also have a better chance of attaining rarity 8 talismans. Realistically, your odds of eventually getting the god talisman are higher than before. Let's jump into the first crafted build.
Are we set?
Working on it. We'll make it.
If you look at the armor for the first build, you need the Arc-Fulton Helm Gamma, you need the Udra Miremail Gamma, you need the Lagiagros Braces A, Lagiagros Coil B, Duna Wildgraves Gamma, Challenger Charm 3, and finish it up with the Corrupted Mantle. The Arc-Fulton Helm, the Udra Miremail Helm and the Duna Wildgraves will give you Lord Soul, which gives you Guts, the best skill to have on any armor. And the Lagiagros 2-piece gives you the Assure Bolt for some extra damage in there. You don't have anything with Gormagala, so that leaves a lot of room, especially if you're looking at your weapon, so you don't have to do a lot of rolling for Kog'Magia's weapons, so that makes it really easy. You need the Challenger Charm 3 for the 3 points in Agitator, which is fairly easy to get. This overall build is not that hard when you reach the end game. The only trouble you might have is Arc Tempered Arcveld. Let's jump into the decorations quickly. So in the headpiece we're going to do we have a counter jewel and then we have an extra 1 slot for your defensive options. And on the chest we have a chain jewel for that burst. Always 1 level of burst. Challenger jewel for extra level agitator. Earplugs, always nice to have. 2 mighty jewels on the coil, just to finish off maximum might. 3 on your gear. Then you have that extra level 1 slot there to do whatever you want with. And then a tenderizing for that weakness exploit. And then 2 other low slots to do whatever you please with. Especially if you're looking at multiplayer, you can slot in shockproof and then 3 resistances or divine blessing on stun resist. It gives you a lot of options, which is just really good at this armor. This is just an all-round build, and with the low slots in that build, you have a good damage profile, but you also have good defensive capabilities, making it for easy and smooth runs. Arc Tempered Arcveld might be a little bit of a trouble here, just because of his repeated attacks and AoE attacks, which might give you trouble, and you might need to have a little bit more defensive options if you're not really familiar with them yet. But this is just an overall build I would recommend to anybody that gets to the level that doesn't really have RNG talismans yet, but I can use this. So the overall build gives you critical boost 5 from your weapon and a critical eye for extra affinity. Airborne level 1 for that 10% extra attack on the Rising Spiral Slash. Weakness exploit level 5. Agitator level 5. Counter Strike level 3. Maximum might level 3. Quick Sheet level 3. Stamina Surge level 2. Burst level 1. Earplugs level 1. And Aquatic Mobility level 1. It gives you that Leviathan Fury and that Lord Soul for that extra damage and for that get out of jail free card. Overall, very good build. If we're looking at the weapon, where you always want to have the element where the monster is weakest to, but in this build, you don't need specific weapon or armor skills rolled on it. So that gives especially new players a lot of freedom, because they are not restricted to Gormagala, Lord Soul on their weapon, for example, which makes this build, from my perspective, just a really good all-round build for some people to pick up. And that makes the overall build. Like every YouTuber, I have to point out that most of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed. If you get any value for the video, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks, I appreciate it. Now let's jump in the following build. Build 2 is only a little bit different compared to build 1. You need to have the Arc-Fulton Helm Gamma, the Udra Miremail Gamma, the Udra Maya Braces Gamma, Lagiagros Coil B, and the Sorial Boots A. And of course, that Golden Charm. Let's quickly go through the decorations. For the headpiece, you can do a counter jewel for that level of Counter Strike, the same jewel. Going into the mail, we have 2 Challenger jewels for those Agitator levels. On the gloves, we have 10 Rising jewel for that level of Weakness Exploit, and 2 Saint jewels to finish off Antivirus level 3 for that extra boost with the Gormagala set bonus. Got 2 Mighty jewels for in the coil for that level 3 maximum might. A level 1 slot you can do whatever you want with. In the boots we have a challenger jewel for that level of agitator. We have an earplug slotted in for that level 1. We get a little bit more resistant to roars. In the talisman we have attack jewel complement the golden talisman for attack boost level 5. And we got 2 low slots for whatever defensive jewels you want to put in there. And of course, corrupted mantle. So looking at the overall skills, you have critical boost level 5 and you will have attack boost level 5 as well. I know it says level 3 here, but that's because I don't have the gold talisman. You've got a critical eye level 1, airborne level 1 for that rising spiral slash, weakness exploit level 5 and resentment level 3. This is the first build I ever used resentment in, and that has a reason as well. I will get into that later. Agitator level 3, counter strike level 3, maximum might level 3, antivirus level 3, burst level 1 and stamina surge level 1. Finishing up with 1 level of part breaker, Nu Uda's mutiny, Kormagala's tyranny and that Lord Soul. As I said, this is one of the first builds I'm using resentment in. This has to do with the combination of the set pieces you can use for the new Udra set, giving you bad blood level 1, basically giving you extra damage when resentment is active. And resentment gets active when if you have a red gauge on your health. With the 10-star Arc Tempered monsters, there's a lot of AoE involved, which gets you hit most of the time. So getting a red bar or getting a red gauge on your health bar is not really that hard to get and to maintain, because you're gonna get hit left, right and center. This overall build does rely on a certain uptime of resentment. This allows for an extra damage boost in that sense. Also with Kormagala Tyranny in there, and you have that weakness exploit and agitator, it's just overall very good. The only thing you have to really think about is that you're in a party of constantly healing, especially in multiplayer, and I see this a lot with Arc Tempered Arcveld. It might lose a little bit of effectiveness because people are just keeping each other alive constantly, and then you just don't have that red gauge. But I think that overall it's still a very good skill to have. It's not really that difficult of an armor set to get. Another thing you see is that the new boots of the new set that fit in really well, also giving that Kormagala set bonus on there. So there you have. It also requires a weapon with Kormagala Tyranny on it. However, it only needs Kormagala Tyranny. It doesn't need Kormagala and Lord Soul, for example. You just need Kormagala. You just don't need them both because you have 3 set pieces of the Gamma set already for that Lord Soul. So making it quite easy to obtain as well if you're looking at the weapon type you need. Making it overall build for me one of the best builds you can currently play because it's easy to get, it does high damage, and the only thing you have to deal with is the God Roll Talisman. However, having that said, because the chances you are having the god level talisman are slim, the only requirement for this set to properly work and fall within my golden rule is that you have a talisman that is close to the god roll talisman, or it can also be slightly different because you can slot in whatever you want and whatever you're comfortable with. The only requirement you really have is the 2 level 1 armor decorations. That's the only thing you really need to worry about if you're looking at what RNG talisman can you slot in if you don't have the gold talisman. This build without the gold talisman will still work. You'll just have a little bit less of damage in this overall build. But still, I think it's worth it. I think it's a good build. It allows for that survivability. It has high damage potential. It's just overall really good. With that build out of the way, let's go into my build I used to beat Arc Tempered Arcveld. I'll just quickly go through it. It's nothing spectacular, but I just wanted to show you what I used to overcome my first Arc Tempered Arcveld hunts and beat him and get the stuff you need for the builds I previously showed you. For my Arc Tempered Arcveld build, I used the G-Fugger Helm B, the Udra Mel Gamma, the Ray Sand Braces Gamma, Gregorios Coil B, Duna Wild Graves Gamma. It's not spectacular with damage. The main point of this build is survivability. So let's go through the decorations. For the headpiece, I've got a chain jewel for the burst and a goblet jewel for speed eating, giving me speed eating level 3. In the chest, I've got 2 tenderizing jewels for that weakness exploit. In the hands, I've got a challenger jewel for that level of agitator and a tenderizing jewel for another extra level of weakness exploit. Coil, another tenderizing jewel for the weakness exploit. I got protection jewel for an extra level of Divine Blessing, and I've got a Steadfast Jewel for 1 level of stun resist, and in the boots I've got another Tenderizing Jewel for that the last level of Weakness Exploit. I've got 2 more Steadfast Jewels for that level 3 stun resistance, which is needed with Arcveld, because if he stuns you, you're dead. And because my charm gives me a level 2 slot, I put a level of Air Plugs in there. So the charm here is what makes my build easy, as it has 1 level of Airborne, it has Divine Blessing level 2 and Speed Eating level 2. Really good skills if you want to have survivability. And then if you're looking at my glaive itself, I've got 2 critical jewels, getting me critical boost level 5. And then I've got an attack jewel level 3. I don't need a flight one because I have that in my charm. Otherwise this will probably be flight attack or flight expert jewel depending on your preference. The weapon I was using has a Fulgur Engineer Will and a Lord Soul on it, just giving me guts, and because I've also had the headpiece, I've got that little bit of extra stamina. That doesn't really do anything with it because I don't have maximum might on this build, but it does for that extra dodging capability, especially with Arcveld doing so many attacks at once. So overall, you have the critical boost level 5, attack boost level 3, airborne level 1, weakness exploit level 5, agitator level 5, divine blessing level 3, stun resistant level 3, quick sheet level 3, speed eating level 3, counter strike level 2, evade extender level 2 and a burst level 1. Then we also have the evade window level 1, earplugs level 1, the Fulgur Engineer's Will, and we of course have Lord Soul rounding out the build. So this is not for damage. The thing is that if you're getting hit, you have your Divine Blessing to save you. You're not getting stunned, you have your quick sheet to quickly eat, which works really well. You've got your evade extender level 2 to help you survive and having that little bit of extra distance. This build is overall really comfy and really helps you survive these really hard fights. However, don't expect it to pull ahead in the damage meter, because there are a lot of other builds that are way better in that respect. So that's it, my builds for this video. I hope you like the builds, and better yet, I hope you try them out. Let me know what you think, how they work for you. If you have any recommendations for builds of your own, please feel free to post them in the comments. If you want to look for more builds, I still recommend the official Monster Hunter Wilds Discord. In the pinned comment you will find a lot of information about the Insect Glaive, including a lot of builds. If you like the content, like and subscribe. And as always, stay sharp and happy hunting.